Martin Seligman tried to condition a phobia of houses and dogs by pairing pictures of houses with electric shocks. He failed completely, yet he conditioned a phobia of rats and dogs in a single trial. The same dogs that could not learn to fear houses with hundreds of pairings learned to fear rats instantly. Evolution had prepared them to fear one category of stimulus and rendered them nearly unable to fear another. Learning is not unlimited. It is shaped by millions of years of evolutionary history. Martin Seligman's concept of preparedness holds that organisms are not equally prepared to learn all associations. Evolution has equipped them with predispositions to form certain associations easily, to form others with difficulty, and to be essentially incapable of forming some at all. A prepared association can be acquired in a single trial with minimal reinforcement and persists despite counter-evidence. A contra-prepared association resists acquisition even with many reinforcements. This challenges the behaviorist assumption that any neutral stimulus can be conditioned to any response. The organism's evolutionary history sets strong constraints. Garcia and Kohling's taste aversion research revealed a stunning violation of standard conditioning principles. Rats conditioned to avoid a novel taste by following it with radiation-induced illness showed strong avoidance even when the illness was induced hours after tasting, far outside the typical contiguity requirements for classical conditioning. Moreover, the aversion was highly selective. Taste was readily paired with nausea, but not with external shock, while clicking sounds were readily paired with shock, but not with nausea. The taste illness pathway is evolutionarily prepared. The sound nausea pathway is not. Human phobias are not randomly distributed across possible stimuli. Clinical phobias center on ancestral threats: snakes, spiders, heights, deep water, enclosed spaces, strangers, and blood, with remarkably high prevalence. Phobias of modern threats, cars, electrical outlets, firearms, are vanishingly rare despite their objective danger. This distribution reflects evolutionary preparedness. We are biologically primed to develop fears of stimuli that threatened our ancestors over millions of years, even in individuals who have never personally encountered a dangerous snake or been in a life-threatening situation involving heights. Keller and Marion Breland trained hundreds of animals for commercial and entertainment purposes using operant conditioning, but they discovered a troubling phenomenon they called instinct drift. As training continued, animals would increasingly abandon the trained behavior and revert to species-typical instinctive responses, even when this meant losing the food reinforcer. Raccoons trained to deposit coins in a piggy bank would begin washing and manipulating the coins, their natural food-cleaning behavior, for minutes before finally depositing them, despite receiving no reinforcement for this. Instinctive behavior won out over learned behavior. Konrad Lorenz documented one of the most striking examples of biologically constrained learning, imprinting, in which newly hatched precocial birds form an irreversible social attachment to the first moving object they encounter during a critical period, typically within a few hours of hatching. In nature, this is almost always the mother. But Lorenz showed that goslings would imprint on him, on rubber boots, or on a cardboard box. Imprinting cannot occur outside the critical period and cannot be reversed, demonstrating that this form of learning is both biologically canalized and time-dependent. Edward Tolman demonstrated that learning could occur without reinforcement, a direct challenge to strict behaviorism. Rats allowed to freely explore a maze without any food reward showed no improvement in navigation, until a food reward was introduced, at which point they navigated the maze as efficiently as rats that had received food throughout training. Tolman concluded that the unreinforced rats had been building a cognitive map of the maze during exploration, storing this latent learning for later use when motivation provided a reason to act on it. This proved that learning could occur without any behavioral change. Tolman's cognitive map concept proposed that rats and other organisms form internal representations of spatial environments that are more like maps than simple stimulus-response chains. A cognitive map encodes the spatial relationships between landmarks and locations, allowing flexible navigation, including novel routes and shortcuts that could not be explained by any previously reinforced path. Cognitive maps have since been confirmed by the discovery of place cells in the hippocampus, neurons that fire specifically when the animal is in a particular location, collectively forming the neural substrate of the cognitive map. Wolfgang Kohler's research with chimpanzees demonstrated insight learning, the sudden, apparently discontinuous appearance of a correct solution to a problem without gradual trial and error. Sultan, a chimpanzee, was presented with a banana out of reach and two short sticks that individually could not reach it. After apparent contemplation, Sultan suddenly joined the sticks together and used the compound tool to rake in the banana, a novel solution that appeared complete rather than gradually assembled. Insight involves a restructuring of the problem representation that produces an aha moment. The boundaries of learning reveal the shape of evolution. Every constraint on what can be learned, prepared fears, instinct drift, imprinting critical periods, reflects the evolutionary history of the species. Learning is not a blank slate process that operates identically across all stimuli and responses. It is a biologically shaped capacity that is exquisitely tuned to the adaptive challenges of each species' natural environment.